This video was made possible by GamersGate.com. Download games anytime, anywhere. Skip it up and that up. What's going on, folks? Richard Review Tech USA. I know you're seeing some wood, you're seeing the sausage fingers, and you're seeing the hairy gorilla hands, so you know what that means. It's time for a review, but before I actually review the 2DS, let's go back to yesteryear, the ancient year of 2011, when Nintendo released this bad boy. This is the 2DS. It is the successor to the original DS, and it has the same clamshell design. Everything on it's pretty much the same, except obviously it has much more powerful hardware, and it has the 3D screen, as we're seeing right here. Now, parents had a couple complaints about this thing, and people in general. One is that parents didn't want their kids playing the games in 3D, because it could hurt their eyes. And two, the clamshell design, over time, even if you take care of it, I've seen this firsthand, and I know people are not going to agree with me, but the clamshell eventually wears out. I don't want to hear the Miiverse thing again, so I'm going to lower the volume. It gets floppy. This DS actually is from launch, but it hasn't been used that much. This is actually my little brother's, and so this one's in really good shape. He's used it maybe like twice, and then he got into my Xbox 360 and doesn't really care about his 3DS anymore. So, okay, so Nintendo had a dilemma here. A lot of people didn't want the 3D feature for their kids, or didn't care about the 3D feature, and the clamshell design over time, especially when little kids use it, because little kids, let's say, face it, when little kids have a portable console, I was a little kid once too, I know this for a fact, they use this thing day in and day out. So Nintendo was in a bind. They're like, how can we reach a market that's either for younger gamers who parents don't want to have the clamshell to wear out, or have the 3D feature because they don't want their kids to hurt their eyes. Yes, I know you could turn the 3D feature off on this. I know you can. But if you're not going to use it, why spend the money on it? So Nintendo made a solution. And here it is. The Nintendo 2DS. Now, I don't have the box here with it. I already did an unboxing. I'll either have an annotation in the video, or if you don't see an annotation, I'll have a link to my unboxing video in the description below. But, so if you want to see all the stuff it comes with, you're more than welcome there. So this is the 2DS, and it basically is the answer to the problems of the 3DS for parents or for people who don't give a crap about the 3D. Because as you could tell from the name, this is 2D. There is no 3D feature on here, and as you could see from its very funky, almost tablet-like design, there is no clamshell to wear out and go bad and have it floppy like an elephant wiener. Yes, I just compared the 3DS to an elephant wiener. Don't judge me. But anyway, let's take a look. The one thing I will give you is a tour of the unit. You can see my unshaven, bald face right there. Hello, how are you? My face isn't bald, my head's bald. But anyway, it has all the same features of the 3DS. But we'll talk about that in a second. Let's talk about the face buttons here. You have the analog nub, feels the same. This D-pad feels a little bit funky, a little bit softer than the D-pad on the 2DS. Not going to do a comparison of the two today, but maybe I'll do that later if you guys want to see a 3DS, 2DS comparison. But you have your D-pad there. It works fine, though. Very responsive. Start and select. This does have a sleep feature. Okay? A lot of people with my unboxing like, hey, Rich, you know, I'm interested in the 2DS, but if it doesn't have a sleep feature, there's certain games. I think there was a Zelda game for the DS that needed one of the puzzles you needed to put the system to sleep to solve. This does have sleep. This does everything that the 3DS does. Okay, minus 3D. You have your start select. Power here, sleep feature. It does have the sleep, like I just said. On this side here, you have your SD card slot. If you want to put a lanyard through, which mine didn't come with a lanyard. Maybe that was just a screw up in my box, but you could put a lanyard so you could wrap it around your hand so you don't risk dropping it. You have your stylus on the side. It does come with a stylus. And on top, you have your L and R buttons. You have your game cartridge slot. This does play DS games as well. And you have your power port, does come with a power supply. Mono speaker, not stereo on this one. And on this side here, you have your volume control. And it does have 3D cameras. They do, even though this does not have a 3D screen, it does have 3D cameras for software compatibility reasons, because this thing is compatible with every single game supposedly on the market. I say supposedly with an asterisk. I'll talk about that at the end of the video. So beyond that, this is a 3DS, okay? Same graphics processor, same CPU. They didn't lower the clock speed or anything, increase the clock speed. You could play every game, whether it be DS, yes, this is a Castlevania game I didn't open yet, or 3DS, it's going to play it. Okay, the hardware is exactly the same in here. It's just that it doesn't do 3D. So let's turn it on and take a look around. Now, these screens actually are one screen. It's just, this is one LCD screen with a little piece of plastic you're separating them. The bottom screen has the not capacitive, the resistive touchscreen, just like the 3DS has, and then you have your widescreen up on top. The resolution of the screen is the same as the 3DS. Actually, if you put them side by side, you'll see pretty much the 2DS is the 3DS completely opened up. Maybe it's the 3DS is a little bit taller, but they're almost the same exact size. The screen is actually a little bit brighter on the 2DS, but they're the same exact size. But beyond that, you know, this isn't going to be a long review, guys, because I'll go over the software real quick. It has the same thing that you have your eShop on here. Games run exactly the same. I'll show you some gameplay, but it's just going to be, like I said, this. Lower the volume real quick. As the 3DS. Now, one thing I will say, this system, now for some people, I know this is going to be a selling point. This system is comfortable as all hell. This may be the most comfortable handheld I've ever used, period. I actually, once again today, played for a couple hours. I played the Vita, and then I played this again for a couple hours. The Vita started cramping my hand. The Vita is still a very comfortable console. I'm not knocking it, but this is still more comfortable. I have a little carpal tunnel in my left hand. This doesn't bother it that much. I could play this thing for like 2.5, 3 hours straight and not feel anything. The Vita, after like 45 minutes, I was feeling it. And it's one thing I could say, I have to say, is that compared to the 3DS, because when you hold it, the buttons are lower, so it's kind of the weight's off center. I don't feel this is as comfortable. Sorry, I was trying to hold back a burp. Might as well be honest with you. I feel I feel more fatigued when using this. Whereas this, because the controls are more centered, it feels a lot. I'm feeling it right now. It's a lot more comfortable. The triggers on top are a lot more ergonomic. It's just a way more comfortable gaming experience than either the original 3DS. I even owned a 3DS XL, and I did feel a little fatigue quicker with that. And the Vita, this is right now the most, in my opinion, for my large, chubby, gorilla, ape, hairy hands, this is the most comfortable current gen portable gaming experience on the market. Now, battery life is another thing I want to talk about too. A lot of people who've been reviewing this have been saying that, where the hell did you go? I don't want to go into the camera. That you get about 4.5 hours of battery life with this, which is true. They're all dead on about that. That's how much battery life you're going to get. So if you're expecting it to be more than the 3DS XL, like getting 6 or 7 hours out of this thing, you're not going to get it. But all in all, comfortable handheld. You're getting all the features of the 3DS except for the 3D. So if you don't care about the 3D, this is a good option. There's a couple things I want to talk about toward the end, but this is a good option. I'm going to show a couple games playing, and then I'll give you my final verdict. Not really too much to go over with this, guys. All right, now I'm going to show you some new Super Mario Bros. 2. As you hear, even though it's a mono speaker, you do get decent volume out of it. I think I'm going to say, because I used to own a 3DS XL, that the volume on this mono speaker is actually a little louder than the 3DS XL. I could be wrong about that. I don't have one here anymore to compare, but decent volume out of a mono speaker. And on top of it too, if that bothers you, it still has a headphone jack, so you can get good stereo sound out of there, and it sounds just fine. I have used headphones on this, but I'll play a little bit of New Super Mario 2, and you can see some gameplay. I don't know how well it's going to show up on my screen here, but the screen is very bright. I'm going to say it's actually a little bit brighter than the original 3DS screen. I don't know what it's doing here. No, we'll just play a level. And you'll see it feels really comfortable. Games play just fine. And I just ran into the Chomp Chomp like an idiot because I'm trying to do this through a LCD viewfinder right now to make sure everything's staying on the screen. And as you see, the D-pad, even though it feels a little bit mushier, is still very responsive and comfortable to use. And it's playing New Super Mario Bros. 2 just fine, just like it would on the 3DS, except without the 3D. That's the only difference. I'm going to show you one more 3DS game, show you one DS game, and then give you my final verdict, and that'll be it. Moving on. Alright, and now we're going to play some New Super Mario 3D Land. Now this actually runs really well in here. Now I'm hearing a rumor, I didn't get far enough in the game to say it, like my avatar there, that there is a part in this game where the 3D is almost required. And again, that's why I said the asterisk at the beginning of this video. That's kind of my only concern with the 2DS, is that there could be some software incompatibilities in the future. I don't think there'll be a lot of them, but they could exist. Because even though Nintendo said that every 3DS game had to be 2D compatible, I think there's still people that assume that people just use it in 3D. And matter of fact, the new Zelda game coming out for the 3DS, they actually had to alter some of the puzzles in it to make it more compatible with the 2DS. That's Nintendo themselves. Now imagine a third-party developer. This game is really good, by the way. Imagine a third-party developer who doesn't really give a shit. Maybe they put a puzzle in and, you know, most of the install base has a 3DS, and yeah, you could still kind of play it without the 3D, but it'll be a pain in the ass. They may just be like, well, I'm not going to change around this aspect of the game for, 2% of the people who own the 2DS, which that could change. I have a feeling this is going to sell well over the holiday season, but, there could be compatibility issues. But anyway, New Super Mario 3D Land, or Super Mario 3D Land, I suck with names. It's a blast, and I almost died and jumped into a hole, because once again, I'm blind and looking through a 3D viewfinder. But as you see, the games, because I'm a jackass, I just died, but the games run fine. Once again, it's a 3DS without the 3D. Alright, and now I'm playing some Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. There's my bald head again. And it also plays original DS games just fine, as we'll see in a minute. Ooh, it's kind of tough. This one is even tougher because it uses the bottom screen for gameplay. But, alright. As you see, it plays these games just fine too. God, this game is so good. So, all of your 2DS games will work just fine on your 2DS. All of your DS games work just, all these names, Nintendo, you're confusing me. All of your DS games from the original DS library will work just fine on the 2DS. So you'll have no issues with them. This game plays fantastic on here. And there you go. Now I'm going to shut this off before I end up playing it for 4 hours and not edit this review. Now I will give you my final verdict, folks. So final verdict time, kids. I know a lot of people have been waiting for me to do this review. There are people that have been sitting on the fence with this, waiting for me to give my final verdict on it. Do I recommend the Nintendo 2DS? Yes, very much so. If you're like me and you're someone who could give a crap about the 3D, if you want to save some bucks, I mean, hell, you could, with money you're saving, you go out and buy a brand new 3DS game, and you really just want to enjoy the Nintendo DS and 3DS library. This thing works phenomenal. It's the most comfortable handheld I maybe have ever used. At least it's definitely of this generation of handhelds. It's definitely the most comfortable. The battery life on it is slightly better than the original 3DS, and it's just a good system. It has all the features of the 3DS except without the 3D. But are there downsides to the 2DS? Yeah, there's two. One, like I said before, there may be some compatibility issues here and there in the future. I made a video about it. It can be a concern, and people are, kind of got on me about mentioning it. But hey, if Nintendo is developing a game themselves, a new Zelda title for the 3DS, and they had to change some features around to make sure it was completely compatible with this, I'm sure some third-party developers in the future here and there are going to have some issues where the game won't work as well on the 2DS. But 9 out of 10 games, I'm sure, are going to be fine. The second thing is, because this doesn't fold, and I explained why they don't have the fold, because it's one of the things that wore down on the DS and 3DS, is that the screens are going to be more prone to being scratched. So from the get-go, this is officially from Nintendo, you're going to have to get this taco shell of a case to, I'll power it off, to plop it in there. And there you go. Now your 2DS is safe. So this isn't as pocketable, even though I'm personally would not put this in my pocket anyway. Lint, if you forget and put your keys in the same pocket with it, you're still going to scratch the outside of it. What happens if like the key gets in here, in between this little sandwich right here and scratches the bottom of the screen? I personally don't care about that because when I carry around portable devices, whether it be my cell phone, whatever, I don't put them in my pocket because it's an accident waiting to happen. But some people, they're pissed about that and they're just like, why would I want a 2DS? This isn't as portable. Hey, if that bothers you, here's the 3DS for you. But, you know, to me, it's not that big of a deal, but I understand why people are concerned about it. And yeah, this case is kind of ugly. I'm sure someone from a third party will come out with a nice looking case, but you need to buy the case to protect this thing, especially if you're buying this for kids. Yeah, you need this case, like, desperately. If you don't have it, you might as well just put a hammer to both screens. So that's kind of a catch to not having the clamshell design. But again, I understand why Nintendo did not give us the clamshell, because it makes this thing more durable. And for kids, this thing will be way more durable than it will be, than the clamshell would be. So yeah, if you're an adult like me who doesn't care about the 3D, and you want a really comfortable portable gaming system that has a huge library of games, and you can play it with the previous DS library of games, which makes an endless amount of software titles that you could use with this, I absolutely recommend the 2DS. It's fantastic, it's comfortable, and it's fun to use, and it gives you all of the options minus the 3D that the 3DS does. So it's really a win-win. I strongly recommend this system. All right, guys, make sure to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for supporting Review Tech USA. And it's just a good system. It has all the features of the 3DS, except without the 3D.